This is SANDCAST, beach volleyball with Bourne and Travis Mewhirter. And today we have Bentley Bourne in the house as well.
Hey, yo.
Brought to you, as always, by volleyballmag.com. Unofficially today by Kona Brew. Mm-hmm. We're having a little Gold Cliff IPA here with Sean Rosenthal.
A little tropical pineapple.
Rosie.
It's good to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard about it. But I've never been here, and I live down the street, so it's good to make it over.
It's been hard to get you on just because you're on daddy duty all the
I
time.
know. It's like, hey, can you make it? And I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I go and check with the wife, and it's like, oh, you got the kids, or they got dance class. Or
Yeah, exactly. Dance and soccer and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's only going to get more and more of that.
Yeah, a fun excuse, though. So they're all, like, super active. Like you, though?
Yeah, probably a little too active for me right now. I have 2 3-year-olds, twins, boy, girl, and then a 5-year-old daughter. So it's like they're 20 months apart, and they just run all over me.
Yeah.
All the time.
No dull moments.
Oh, Dad says no to this. Let's all 3 do it.
It's okay if we're not singled out.
Yeah.
If we all do it, then it'll be fine.
If it's just one, then we'll get in timeout or something. So.
Right. Yeah, how do you time out all 3 of them?
It's tough because we only got 2 extra rooms, so we actually turn the locks on their doors backwards, like lock them from the outside.
Ah.
So lock them from the inside. So it's your timeout. Take some toys out of there, timeout. But again, when there's 3, there's only 2 rooms. So what are we gonna do? Lock the other one in the bathroom, maybe? Gotta figure that one out.
Oh man, all the things that you don't think about until you have kids. Sure. How do we lock all our kids in separate rooms?
Sometimes they just need to be apart. Mm-hmm. But when I was leaving, they're out in the driveway. Casey, my wife, had them on the skateboard, riding these little big wheel trucks or whatever. So for the most part, when the rain's gone, which most of the time here in Southern California is good, but lately we've had a lot of rain. So when you get cooped up in the house with these guys, it gets a lot. You're just like, come on. Yeah, I know the rain's good for us and like we need it, but it's like, all right, I need this rain to stop so we can go. We can go to the park, we can go to the beach, we can go somewhere. Just we need to get out of the house.
The California reservoirs were full enough.
Yeah.
Need to get everyone outside again.
Yeah.
It's time to get outside.
It's funny, like most beach players are complaining about the rain because they can't practice. And you're just like, I just need to let my kids spend the energy.
Yeah. We all need to get down to the beach and practice.
Yeah.
Kids, me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen you since P1440 Huntington was the last event that you played.
Yeah.
So what you been up to? What's been keeping you busy aside from the children?
For the most part, that's pretty much it. I mean, I was doing some golfing in the off season while I knew, I knew I was going to be done internationally. So my season's not starting until May. Yeah. So I got a little bit of time. In the last few years, volleyball's kind of gone into pretty close to year-round thing now, with tournaments starting in January and end until November, even December, if you want to play some of the 1, 2, I don't know, maybe 3 stars at that time of year. I'm not sure, but when I was 25 and fresh, whatever, I would have liked to play year round.
Yeah,
because I'm like entering my 20th season now. I'm just like,
jeez,
I'm good. I need to take some time off. You can definitely get burnt out in this sport if you try to train 4, 5, 6 days a week, and it turns into year-round at that point, then it gets tough. So nice break, and golf has been a good mental escape from volleyball and household.
What's the handicap at these days?
Right now, I think it's 7.2, maybe 7.8.
That's not bad.
I have my phone. I could check.
I
have a tournament on Friday.
Oh, nice.
With these guys here.
The Bro Golf Club.
Bro Golf Club. A bunch of cool guys from the beach. A lot of ex-volleyball players, maybe not top level, but a lot of guys that, some guys that grew up around here in the volleyball world would probably know quite a few of them. But From the Brian Ivies, I know you know, and Pat Ivy, to down to CB and 21st Street and Dan Ortega, and then a bunch of other guys that they all kind of grew up with. Fenoy's in it.
Nice.
So it's fun. It's a good group of guys, and it's just fun to be able to compete in golf, because you know when you go out and play with your friends, hey, you compete, you're betting $5 or whatever, but it's kind of loose. But this is like putt everything out. It's like tournament mode. You can look on the board where you're at in the leaderboard, and
Dude, that's
puts
sweet.
more pressure on you. So it's fun in that aspect. I'm looking at my handicap. So trying to.
Travis is a golfer. You golfed in what?
I played all 4 years of high school, and then
awesome.
Had a choice between like going to college, like I'm playing a small D3 score, or studying journalism at Maryland. So I ended up doing that and just playing like little tournaments in the summer.
Nice. I would have golfed.
I don't know. My little brother did the same. He took the same route. Yeah. So now I'm here.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, I get out maybe once a year. I took a 5-year hiatus, and then I came back for my little brother's bachelor party, and we went through my older brother's bachelor party in Myrtle Beach. And then, have you ever played down there?
I have not. I have been to Adam Roberts' place in South Carolina in Myrtle Beach, but I've never played golf there. But just driving through it, it's just like mini putt-putt golfs everywhere and actual real golf courses everywhere. It's like a golfer's heaven. Yeah, pretty
there's
much.
Like 160 courses.
It's like there and Palm Springs for the West Coast are like just golf meccas.
Yeah, Silver Rock is still my favorite course ever. I don't know if you guys have played down there.
I've played out in Palm Springs a ton of so many courses, and Silver Rock is not one of them.
Oh man,
I know.
That's when you got to get out too.
I know for sure. I've driven by it plenty of times. I've actually watched the pros play on it during the. It always changes names, but
the
career,
Bob Hope.
It used to be the Bob Hope. I think it's a career builder now.
Okay.
But.
So are you going to be on the PGA Senior Tour after you retire from volleyball, or what?
Well, as Trevor Crabb put it, I'm going for the LPGA Tour. So.
Oh, LPGA. Yeah, Trevor would say that. Just a ride.
That was a pipe dream, actually, before wife and kids, to play volleyball as long as I can, maybe early, mid-40s. Retire and just have 5 years of me and strict coach. And I have always said, like, me in a game with a ball, like,
you'll be
you give me 5 years, like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I've been down to a close to a 4, like a 4.2 or something, with no coaching, just going and playing. And right now I'm at 7.9. I saw in there.
That would be fun.
But I feel like I'm hitting the ball better than that.
Yeah.
We'd have the whole volleyball community cheering for you. That'd be pretty sick.
I don't know
if Rosie's Raiders would fit in the golf.
They would at Waste Management Open, which just happened here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They would get kicked out of every one of your events, probably.
Well, they're starting to at these volleyball events. They had the blowhorn, and they got pretty upset at the blowhorn.
They weren't feeling that one.
I'm like, I don't know, like that. I don't see why they can't like bring stuff like that. There's no
not
official rules.
A blowhorn. I feel like that's fair game.
It's welcome.
I actually think that referees and guys need to let there be some more action under the net, which would let guys kind of show their kind of true colors a little bit and kind of spice it up a little bit. We need to do something. Yeah, that's what we're there, right? We're entertainers, and if you're one to entertain by your play, then you do it that way. If you're one to entertain by both your play and your mouth,
right?
Trevor. Yeah, I mean, I would be all for that. Like, I think it's something that would help a little bit in our sport to kind of get back to where we should be and where the sport has.
It's gone a little vanilla in that sense.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, a little bit.
How is it like?
You don't have the Haas or the Steve O'Bradovich. I mean, you put those two on the same court together, and when they're 25, 28, they're
congregate to that court.
Oh yeah, I mean they're yelling at the refs. They're yelling at each other.
Yeah. Everyone's got to do their own, like, put their own spice on it. You know, don't try to be a hob. Don't try to be a OB
It
or
is.
Trevor. Like, at least Trevor does his own thing, you know?
No, for sure. I'm
Yeah,
one of the least confrontational people maybe in the world, let alone volleyball. But playing with Trevor was funny. I liked it. Like Trevor would kind of, get at some people under their skin a little bit, and some guys that helps our team.
Right.
Some guys back in the day, like when my Raiders would get on Casey Jennings, like he fired up more and played better, where a lot of guys would kind of, I wouldn't say fold, but kind of probably not like it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know who to do it to and when to do it.
For sure. So,
Trevor's gotten better at that.
Yeah, he looked great when I saw you guys play in Vegas. With him going over to the right side, I don't know if it was kind of like a new found thing.
He ran so many back sets with you and with Mayer.
Yeah.
And he was good at it, so I was like, well, I don't run back sets, so you might as well play right.
Yeah.
Well, plus, like, when I first came out, I was pretty slow and, hadn't played in a long time, so I was like, I'm going to stay left and do what I know how to do.
Yeah.
You go do the thing that's hard.
How long were you out? Were you a year and a half?
It was like 20 months
20
total,
months.
something like that.
It's good to have you back.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's like weird thinking that I'm going to be back on the world tour again, which is just a gnarly grind. As
For
you
sure.
said.
For sure. It's,
straight back, like main draw 4-star, right? Y'all are straight into Doha.
You going to Australia?
No.
No Australia.
No Australia. We're just
straight to
Doha. Yeah, just so far for a 3-star. If we don't have to, it's...
But it is backed up with Doha, right?
Yeah.
Backed up with.
Yeah, but it's not like it's on the way.
Yeah, actually, it's probably just as far travel to Australia as it is.
Yeah, it's brutal either way.
It's true.
But a lot of teams are going. Almost everyone's going, except for Phil and Nick
and Jake and Taylor. I saw that Jake and Taylor might have dropped from Doha, actually. I didn't see their name on the list.
I think you're right.
So they're definitely not doing Australia, though.
I believe that, too. I think they all agreed that they don't want to do that travel.
Yeah.
At the start of the year.
So they're just going to go to Sydney? But Sydney's just as far. Right?
Just as far,
as Doha? Pretty much. You're going to the southern hemisphere. Whatever.
Well, I was talking with Billy in Stafford. Billy found a round-trip ticket to Sydney for like $600. So if you can get that, I mean, it's pretty good.
Ideally, we don't want our players basing it off of whether they go based off of a few $100. Because you'd like to think that you can go make that there. But plus, whatever finish you get in the 3-star, you're going to make a few $100 less. Or $1,000 less than playing in a 4-star. But whatever.
Yeah.
I'm good with knowing I'm going to that'd be great.
Just talking about all this travel, you're just like...
I was like, I'm going to be home, kind of rolling my legs out. If you guys want to take off for like Manhattan Open, why go play somewhere over there? Perfect.
Yeah. So we did talk with... We had a talk with USA. Yeah, right here.
We are here.
Right down below us right now. We had our talk with USA Volleyball, and they said they're making Tokyo a mandatory event for all the national teams. So you are probably the favorite, once again, going into Hermosa, because everyone's...
Oh, that's Hermosa week?
Hermosa. No one's going to be there. It's just going to be you and the Raiders.
Thank you, USA Volleyball.
What does that mean, mandatory?
Well, because it's,
like
it's a test event for Tokyo.
Yeah, but who's technically like on the national team?
They're saying if we're paying you monthly stipends,
you gotta go.
The top 4 teams, or more, like 6 teams, right? They're paying a little bit.
I think they do players, right? So
8 players, or
9 players.
10 maybe. I don't
so
know.
if you're in the country quota, you got to go either way.
If USA's no, not just the main draw teams.
Okay.
But that's top minimum 3 teams. So that'll spice up Hermosa a little bit.
Yeah, but that's a 4-star?
It's a 4-star, but it's the Olympic event. They're going to send their trainers.
And this is 2019.
Yeah.
You would think they would want to try to run like a nice 5-star right before the Olympics, kind of build up to it.
Beginning of 2020, right?
At the beginning, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we have till June 15th is the cutoff.
build it up this year with a 4-star and next year with a 5-star.
Yeah.
They need more 5-star events and 4-star events.
So bad.
When they went to the star system, I think it was a bad idea. I think it was something they should not have done. And if they want that to work, they need to have at least 5 to 8 5-star events, 4 to 8 4-star events, and then you can have as many 3, 2, and 1 stars as you want.
Right.
To help.
But there has to be a big enough tour for the top players to be incentivized to go play and make a living, right?
Yeah.
The only incentive shouldn't be that we want to get points for the Olympics. Like, that's crap.
But you guys are, some of the top teams, especially in the world, are forced to go to 3 stars.
Yeah.
Where if they don't win the tournament, you're not even really making any money. Especially for U.S. players, with how far you got to travel, it's it's kind of a joke that if you don't get top 5, you're not going to make any money. Yeah, you might break even.
Yeah.
And it's how it was before. I thought was great. Like,
how was it before exactly? Because I've only known it as a star system. So what was?
I mean, it was just opens and Grand Slams.
We had like 8 or 9 Grand Slams when I was.
Yeah, like that first year. I think there's one year that we had like 10, but for the most part there was around 6 to 8. But even the opens, like most good teams went to a lot of the opens because it was still good money. Like you win one of those, you're splitting 35 grand.
Right.
Solid.
Now, if you win a 3-star, you're hoping to get a check for 10.
Yeah. If you were not one of the
11,
top teams though,
Something like that.
Like the star system makes
embarrassing to hold that check.
Makes it kind of like easier for like players to climb up a ladder, so to speak. How would one have done that in the open system? Or was that sort of what made it?
Well, that's kind of originally why they started doing this country quota thing.
Yeah.
So that Brazil, USA, at the time, those two mainly didn't drown out the rest.
Right.
So they started doing this country quota, and then, they still have their CEV tournaments. They still have their Asian Cups. They could have either raised those prize money or points a little bit, or they could have, they've said they've wanted to grow the game, and that's kind of like, I think, a bit of what the star system is. And it can work, but there has to be more 4- and 5-star events.
Yeah.
You can't put out there 3 5-star events and then cancel one the first year. I mean, not the first year, but the first one of this year, Olympic qualifying year, when a lot of teams were counting on that. You know, like,
for sure.
If you didn't play tournaments at the end of last year because you're counting on this one, like, I don't know. I think they can make this star system work. They just gotta have more. Because for me, if I'm a promoter, why would I do a 5-star event when I can run a 3-star event for way less money and most likely get a majority of the teams? Like, you might be missing out on 1 or 2 teams, maybe 4 or 5, but for the most part, you're going to get a majority.
Yeah, but if you run a 3-star in the U.S., I mean, you're definitely getting all the top U.S. teams.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. So, it's this new system, and hopefully it's not so new anymore, I guess. It's been around for a few years. But
when did they put the star system in?
I played in 2 events. I was Grand Slams. I was spoiled when I first came out.
Yeah.
Because what
year was that? 14? 13? 14?
14, I think, was my first year on a world tour. So 14, 15, 16. 3 years?
Yeah, so 2014.
Yeah.
That was there was good money in that year on those Grand Slams because they're all 800,000, 400 per gender, and then there's 2 that were $1 million.
It was
500 per.
56 to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 2 were $1 million.
And I got first and second in those 2.
Oh yeah, you and Phil were cleaning up.
Yeah, so that was like, I think it was like 75, and then the second was like 60 or something like that. So it was like, those are back, because it was right after you won this one.
There it is.
in Berlin.
Yeah.
And then I went the next
That's
one
when you
in
had one
Norway.
kid.
I did. I had
You
one
and
kid.
Phil both
yeah,
had one kid
we
at the
did.
time.
They're on the trip. That's right. They're on that trip.
I remember because I talked to you guys. You had a bad tournament for you guys. You guys were cleaning up everything. And you were both like, yeah, neither of us slept last night. Our kids were just going crazy in both rooms. And I was like, yes.
Kind of like what?
Perfect.
If you're traveling,
my chance.
if you're traveling and your partner and you both have kids, you should kind of talk it out. It's a team and whole family thing, and maybe put the wives and kids in one room,
Yeah.
players in other rooms. But yeah, that was a good run that year because like you guys won that one, and then we went 4 straight finals. We won 3 of them. We got second in 1, and 2 of those were the $1 million ones. And those are great
Long
years.
Beach.
I mean,
You won Long Beach, right?
Yeah. Long Beach was the other $1 million one, and The Hague
That was
the other
sick.
one.
Plus, you got
Norway,
it was
Switzerland.
like a bonus the USOC was putting out for American events. So you get a bonus on top of that. Those are good times. You were cleaning up for a nice little decade there.
Those are good years.
When you and
Jake and I had a great run.
yeah, you and Jake in 2008? No, 2012.
12.
You guys were number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
Won world championships. Was that year?
No, world championships is odd number of years, but
odd number. But you were
we won the points title.
Yeah, points title, number 1 in the world.
I won MVP of the world tour.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy, dude.
Because that's voted by the peers, by all the players out there. So that was a big surprise.
With a stacked tour as
Yeah.
well. Like the Dalhausers were there with Rogers.
And then Alisson and Emmanuel were playing together.
Emmanuel was still there.
So there was 4
Ricardo
teams that
was
won.
still playing
There's
great.
4 teams that won 2 events each that year, and that was Phil, us, Alisson and Emmanuel, and a Netherlands team of Numidor Schkiel. Richard Schkiel.
Wow.
Great guy, great people. That Dutch team was one of my favorites.
Was good.
Yeah.
That must have been amazing though, winning MVP of the tour, and you were number 1 points title. Like, that's something like only so many people get to experience as being.
Yeah.
I mean,
and for me to do that with
best player in the world.
And for me to do that with Jake was something special. Like, because I think Phil and I, we technically we were the number 1 team the next 2 years, but we didn't win the points title because Latvia went to every single tournament and they got the points. But if you did like your best, like however many, like we won the most tournaments, and we're right there. But Jake and I's year was awesome because that was also Olympic year, and it was Olympic qualifying, and we were in a real tight race with Furbringer and Lucena. Right. And it came down to the last event to qualify.
That year?
Was in Rome, yeah, because they had a better year in 2011, so they had a little head start, and then in 2012, they finished higher than us in like the first 2 events, and then it just like, I mean
And then it came down to 1 event, right?
It came down to the last event. Like we had to. If they were to win the tournament, and we were to get 5th, they would have went. Mm-hmm. If they would have made it into the semifinals, and we did not improve from our previous best, I don't remember if it was 8 out of 12 or whatever it was. Right. They would have had to get like I think a 3rd. They couldn't get a 4th, and then. So we're both playing pretty well that tournament, and we both make it into the 5th place game. So now they had to win the tournament at this point, and we were playing Latvia, which was Samolavs and I think it was Samolavs and Plavins.
Who got a? Didn't
No,
they
it
get
wasn't.
A bronze
No, it wasn't. It was Samolavs and Ruslan. Oh God, what's his name?
We're not gonna know him.
Yeah. Anyway, another guy, because it was Plavins and Schmiddens.
Okay.
Was the other team. We were down 13-11 in the 3rd set. The other Furbringer and Lucena started after us, So we don't know what was going on in their game.
Right.
And I think right after that, I would actually kind of like to watch that game because I know we came back and won, but I don't remember exactly the points in that game. But we came back and won that game, and their coach was up in the stands for our game. We were on center court, and I saw him walk out. We go over. We're stoked because we know we disqualified.
Right.
So we're all like fired up and stoked for each other. Mike Dodd, our coach, was there. And then we walk out for like, what do we want to do? Like, well, let's go watch the end of their game over there. So we walk over there and we watch it, and we just feel like the energy was like out of it.
Just got sucked
And we're
out.
like,
Sorry about that.
let's get out of here. Let's go get some dinner or something. We're in Rome, right? Like,
nice.
Let's go to a nice restaurant and get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets a little funny, like, those times, for the fact that, like, good friends with Furbringer, good friends with Lucena, and Jake, of course, and of course you're sitting down at lunch or something, and they might not join your table.
I know, isn't it?
It gets a little funny at those times where it's just like,
we definitely had that with Jake and Casey.
You and Hayden?
Me and Hayden. We're all flying together, traveling together, but it's just like.
And I was just watching Kerry Walsh play volleyball. That was magic to me, and I'm really aspiring to be around phenomenal humans with magic. I can't really totally describe magic, but I think you know it when you see it or feel it.
We all have those battles inside our mind, and you have to understand that in order to reach these goals, you have to put in action.
I just don't want to have dinner with you. It's not to sit next to each other. Yeah, it is weird. I got a little bit
especially,
of experience.
Especially when it's a tight race.
And you can't get away from it. It's not like other sports where everyone kind of travels with their big team. We travel almost as a national team a lot of the time, right? Because we're sharing trainers and all that stuff. So you're like, don't give them as much treatment or something, Yeah, it is a weird time, and it's pretty stressful as well, right? Or at least for me it was. That was my first time going through it. You had already gone through it at that point. But, I don't think people realize, like, how, like, stressful it is, first of all, but also, like, awkward in that sense, where you have to hang out. It's like you're friends, but not really. Like, you don't know. Like, I'm just gonna be nice to this person.
It's like
and they're like, dude, I don't want to talk. Let's not even do this.
It's like in 3 months when these Olympics are over, like, let's sit down. We could, like, chat it up.
Yeah.
Kane was he was cracking me up, telling me a story about when he was making a push for 2016, and there were a bunch of Canadian teams playing in Orsaka, and Avery thought that Kane was like tipping them off to Avery's like blocking signals, and Kane was like, I don't want them to win. He's like, I'm rooting for you to beat the Canadians. It's just a funny like concept that you're rooting against your own countrymen because like you have to get to the Olympics. Like,
and that's another thing. Exactly. That's another thing on the road too. When you're going, it's like you hate to root against the Americans, but for sure this year in 2019 and 2020, whether Tri admits it or not, he's not going to be rooting for Jake and Trevor and or Taylor, and he's not going to be rooting for Phil and Nick.
We can.
But
I can guarantee that.
You want everybody to do their best, and you just work. Also, you can control as your matches and your game. So it's just like do the best that you can do, and when there's an open seat, I went and sat down with them. It was just like I thought it was. I thought it was quite fun. Like the battles are fun. Like you're coming down, like you're battling out to have a spot in the Olympics. Like, playing against the best teams in the world, and you're playing great, they're playing good. I'd rather you both be playing good,
right,
and one get left out. And I think that year, when we were number 1 in the world, Phil was like number 3 in the world, and Furby and Nick, who didn't get to go to the Olympics, were like number 7 in the world.
Oh,
That's crazy.
So I was like,
that's way worse.
Yeah.
It's worse than how our situation was, and your guys' race was way closer.
yeah, it was. That was crazy. That was fun. 2008 was a little bit different.
It wasn't like as close in 08, but wasn't it Furby and Casey Jennings that were giving you guys like a decent run for that one too?
They would have gave us a better run. Well, there's 2 teams that were supposed to give us a better run. I mean, they would have been 1, but they didn't play together in 2007. I think that year they split a little bit. Furby was playing some with Sean Scott, kind of wanted to try this big thing, and
You had Lambeau and Stein, right?
Lambeau and Stein were our main competition, along with Phil.
Yeah.
In 2007, it was
Did they go for
close.
it for the whole time?
No, Lambeau had a knee, supposed to be just a easy
Scope or
cleanup,
something,
little scope, little cleanup, and I can't say for certain if we were playing also those off seasons. We had these AVP Hot Winter Nights, which were awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
It allowed us to be able to go out and make some money in the off season, and they're a lot of fun. But I think, so my personal opinion, my doctor's opinion, Lambeau had the scope, and I'm going to take a guess and say, because he came back and played this Vegas Hot Winter Nights, and I'm going to think maybe he came back too soon, pushed on it too hard, something, and they had to end up going back in and doing something else, a little more. I don't know. I think maybe just another scope or whatever, but it put them out, and Lambeau really never kind of fully recovered and got back from that. And I mean, he was a special player. I mean, that guy was really good.
Yeah.
So I think we were really close after 2007.
Yeah.
I think they're ahead of us a little bit, and then he had that. I don't think Casey and Furby really weren't ever all that close. Right. No, they would have had to. They would have had to win the last 5 tournaments or something to even make it close or something like that.
Right.
But they just had a really late jump. But they were playing well too. Of course, they always. Furby was always right there.
Yeah, that's a tough position to be in.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in that same position for 3 Olympics or something. You know, you're just can you just get that title already? That's what sucks so much too, is that third team doesn't get to go based on a country quota, not because they didn't qualify.
Yeah.
I feel like they should do a limit. I was just thinking about this a bit. Of course, I'm going to say this.
Not biased at all.
Yeah. But I was like, they should do it to where two countries can have 3 teams each or something like that. If it goes more than that, okay, I get it. We need this to be a World's Games. So the third country that qualified 3 teams or something. But if it's 1 team every year, I think the games can afford to let that team go, so nobody gets screwed out of a lifelong, a career changing moment, you know?
So if you had 3 teams in the top 10 of the world rankings?
Only we were, the point of the country quota is so it's Olympics, it's the world versus each other, not all the Brazilians versus you or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But if it's 1 team every year, it was last year, we were the only country to qualify 3 teams.
Oh, were you?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So in that situation, it doesn't hurt the games.
Yeah,
it does
for sure. When it
hurt the team that doesn't get to go.
It's
it was 1 or 2, but if there's 3 countries with 4 teams qualifying, then
so what do you do? Do you play it off?
Or you play it off. I mean, you could just say whoever's ranked highest.
Yeah.
So you could do, with the Olympics is a 2014 field, right? So you could do what?
Yes.
16 qualify automatically, and then they go from like regions, right? Continental champions, and then like Africa has to have a team.
Yeah.
So someone gets to go from.
And then
Africa.
Rome, the winner of Rome is in, right? This year?
That's World Tour final.
Or World Tour finals.
So winner of World Champs gets
an automatic berth.
Automatic berth for their country, and the country gets
Oh,
to
they
decide
take up
whether
a country
the team
spot.
gets it.
Okay.
So if we were to win World Champs in 2015, we wouldn't have gotten the spot. We just guarantee that our country gets one.
Oh, that's brutal.
So,
Oh man.
but
Nick and Theo
for the
got
most part, I would think your country would.
Yeah.
If you guys are both healthy and playing well, if you were to win that World Championships, because World Champs is the odd number year, and I think it was the same last World Champs.
Yeah.
And no, not 2017, 2015.
2015, The Hague. 2017.
Yeah. So, but I think it was the same scenario. I think it had on there that if you were to win that, you win the spot for your country.
That's how it is this year too.
Yeah. But if you guys were to win that and then continue to play well,
we'd have great points. So if we don't qualify,
see that would also be something weird, because what if Phil and Nick and Jake and Taylor, for example, are number 3 and 4 in the world, but you guys won World Champs in 2017.
And you're 12.
I think that
or 2019, I'm saying.
Those teams would be better qualified and suited to
represent
the U.S.
It depends on how your finishes. I mean, up to that point, if you guys are 20 in the world, then hopefully we send because we want to send our best teams to be able to go. But you guys earn that one spot.
Top 10, and then we proved that we could play that good in that environment, like that big of a match. You send the team that can go win a world championship.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can make it that subjective, you know?
Yeah.
I know, it's hard.
I think the system's, that's kind of how it has to be.
Any system will be imperfect. Like, there's no way you can come up with anything that's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
But with 08, I mean, obviously you had played on a big stage and succeeded before then. You're the 07 AVP Defensive Player of the Year and 06 FIVB Rookie of the Year, maybe?
06 Rookie of the Year for sure.
The resume is too long.
There's a lot of.
I was defensive player. I was defensive player, and might have been 08, maybe 07.
Okay.
But I was also with Todd Rogers. I don't know if it showed that on there.
No, it just left him out.
Well, probably because Todd already had won it however many years in a row, and when we both got announced up, he gave me the trophy. So, thank you, Todd, for that.
But is there any
it.
difference to the Olympic stage as compared to just any other? Because it's not the best tournament in terms of talent.
For sure.
The World Tour Finals.
That's actually a good point, because it is. It's actually, when you're out there qualifying these next 2 years here, it's going to be the weakest tournament that you play for talent-wise, because you only have 2 Brazilians instead of 3 to 5. Mm-hmm. You only have 2 Americans instead of 3 to 5. Netherlands now has however many good teams. Germany always has a lot of good teams.
You don't have to slot Kenya in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we played a team from South Africa in our first round in London, and then in Beijing we didn't have any other gimme rounds for sure, because we were kind of a middle seed.
Oh yeah.
But in London we were top I think 3. I think we were 3 seeds. Yeah, we had going into that tournament. We went gold, silver, bronze.
So you were
into the Olympics. Yeah, so we were playing really well.
Dang.
So that was a very bittersweet tournament for sure.
And then to see the Germans win it, who hadn't won an event in a long time, right?
I think their last win was 2009. Before that. And that was, I believe that was world champs in Stavanger.
Wow.
I believe.
Would you rather have seen...
See you, Bentley.
Wait a
Hang on.
minute.
He's out.
He's a little bored with our conversation.
Well, I mean, they played great. They're always a team that was going to be a really good team, really tough to beat.
Who would you say the equivalent is, like, to compare them to on the World Tour now?
It's hard because Brink is like a 6'3", 6'2", 6'3" guy, left-sider, which you don't have many smaller defense players on the left side anymore.
How about
And his Reckerman was...
He's a blocker?
Yeah, he was maybe like similar to, maybe similar to you, even a little bit, as in like a little bit undersized blocker, really good hands, positioning, did everything really well. He might have been a little bit taller than you, but yeah, he's just one of those guys that you make a mistake, they're going to block you. You can keep it high on him, and
just solid.
He's a really good player. A team right now to put them, I'd have to kind of like think about that.
5th, 9th kind of team.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking Spain.
Tournament. Spain, maybe.
Like Herrera and Gavira are always hanging around, but they don't win a ton.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They did good year last year.
But like, I would not be that surprised if Spain got hot and won a world champs.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Or Olympics even.
With the end of that Olympics, I don't know if you guys remember how it ended.
Yeah.
Game point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ref refused to check the mark.
That was a joke.
What?
And they showed the replay and it was in, right?
It was in.
Yeah.
It was in.
Oh my god.
That's
and
like,
how close was the score?
That would have made it deuce.
Oh my god.
I think it was like 2019. And yeah, I mean, seems like that has to be checked.
Yeah, I just don't know why. Like, why not? Like, what?
I think the ref probably froze. He was like, please just end this match. There's so much pressure on me right now.
It's not like there was home field advantage or anything. Like, it was German and a Brazilian team playing.
The ref made a mistake. That's crazy.
Bentley's traded.
Yeah.
Try a more comfortable lap.
How was it having Don on as a coach? I know when I talked to Jake, he loved having Don.
Yeah.
Kind of want to get your perspective on that.
For sure. I thought MD was a great player, a guy that I kind of watched as I was kind of getting into the scene. And then when Jake and I got together, we were just like, what do you think? This is 2006. We're like, what do you think about a coach? We like get one. And we're kind of talking it out for a while. We kind of went out of the box a little bit because Mike was not coaching at the time. And we're like, he would be someone great to like be a mentor, to kind of travel with, to like, if he says something, you can trust it because he's been there, done that. And then when Jake gave him a call, he's like, I think Jake was like, hey, Mike, this is Jake Gibb. I don't know if you know who I am. kind of thing. And, but when Mike, got the call, there wasn't very much hesitation. He was like, yeah, I would love to. Got on, and then Jake and I played 7 years. We had Mike for 6 years, and 1 year he was the AVP. He was like what was he?
Broadcast.
One of the head guys. That was the year that the AVP
in 2010, I think,
got bought out by.
He was like the president.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because Nick Lewin owned the tour that year and sunk it pretty fast.
Wow. Thanks
it was a little bit right after Leonard had it and all the Crocs and everything, and then some stuff was kind of, I think, going downhill with a few deals that did get done, whatever it was. This guy, Nick Lewin, bought it, and I don't think he was great for the tour.
Really?
But he hired on a few guys, Jason somebody, British hair, big guy. I feel bad not knowing his name right off the top of my head, but you know who
he's probably not.
he is.
Yeah.
And then Mike Dodd got hired on as president maybe. Something pretty high up.
And then he went to Italy, right, to coach over there. They hired him as the national.
I think later that year, so the tour went bankrupt, and I think that's when he got picked up by the Italy guys that had him for 1 year, because Mike played a lot of indoor during his years in Italy. I think he played 5 years professionally in Italy and speaks good Italian.
Right.
Maybe not perfect, but really well.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Crocs tour days. That was kind of like you were like, that was when you first came out, right? It was the Crocs tour, and the tour was really, you came out a long time before, but when you were like rookie of the year and like broke into the scene was like when the tour was like doing really well, right? Yeah,
I think that's, Crocs was at the time like a new, but
Crocs.
like
I'm the only one that wears Crocs.
well, they were just thriving at the time. They were that new kind of thing and doing really well. But like what it was is what the AVP needs is something like that. They need a title sponsor. You need like AVP Hermosa Beach Open presented by Nissan, whoever. One of these.
A big name.
Fortune 500 companies that like.
They got Amazon on board. It's just not a
which is they've been together 1 year. I think it worked really well. I think a lot of people. I only heard good feedback about it.
Can you imagine if Amazon became the title sponsor and invested a little bit of just like 0.01% of their resources?
Yeah,
that is what Amazon does, though. I mean, because like their profits are always super low, considering that they're almost like $1 trillion company at this point, because they just take all their profits and reinvest it. So it's not even that crazy to think of, because they're just scooping up as many streaming contracts and stuff as possible.
Let's go, Bezos.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tour was legit back then, and that's kind of when I think I started kind of watching it a little bit around those same years, and you were like. That's when you got your Superman title, the Vegas line.
And when Geeter out there as our announcer was
how big was Geeter for our sport? Like, because I feel like he created characters for all you guys, and then like was able to push these stories and something for people to follow.
He was just very entertaining, very quick and witty, and just good. Good at entertaining, good at announcing, good at talking, good at everything, all his delivery. And Mark does a good job.
Right.
And it's just hard for anybody to follow, someone that was
the legend
as high as or good as Geeter was. Yeah. And at the time when Geeter got it, there was another guy before him that was doing really well. His name was Jim Arico.
Oh yeah.
And he was a guy that was doing really well. He was the guy always. It's the AVP on NBC kind of came out with that thing, and when they were playing, or when we had tournaments on NBC in the early 2000s, late 90s, which is right before I was playing. But he was good, and then Geet followed him and took it to another level, and then Geet couldn't turn down
Lakers.
Lakers stuff.
He's too big of a fan.
Now
I get to go hang out with. James Worthy,
Big Game James, Steve Fish, the team, all of them. So he's stoked, and I think his dream job, I remember him saying, was to be play-by-play for the Lakers. So,
dude, that would be rad.
He's on the right track, and
seems like they love him there.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever done like an interview with him where it's like he doesn't use notes or anything, and he'll just go, and he never.
I got him on
messes up.
Yeah, I got him on
have to
the
retake.
broadcast where they're like, "Oh, Geeter's gonna call this game with you." Obviously, I still didn't know what I was doing, and he just like walked in and was just like talking about Jake and his childhood and all these facts about just like back in 2004 when Jake first came out and he got this block like this. I'm just like, what? Like I gotta do all this like research to figure this stuff out. You're not even working in volleyball anymore, and you just step on and just like kills it. He's like a savant in that sense.
Jake coming out in 2003, 4.
Whatever.
Nobody knows him. He comes out, and all of a sudden, like this guy from Utah is blocking me all over the place. I'm like, who is this guy, dude? Like, go back to Utah, whatever. And then,
I'm still saying that.
Yeah.
Dude.
I went away from saying that because I got to play with him for 7 years.
Exactly.
So and after playing with him, I think Jake is one of the best players and humans that I've ever met and got to hang around with. So
I can see that.
Jake's as good as they get in all aspects. So that was a fun 7 years. Yeah. Who would have thought me
it's not
leaving?
Fun competing against him though, especially if he's that nice and not gonna talk trash to me, but still gonna just be Jake nasty.
He would talk some trash if the refs were to allow it.
He gave it to me a little bit when I was young because I remember I blocked him, and it was actually the first time we beat them. It was 2013. And I think I just yelled at him. Oh, actually no, I said his name. I was like, yeah, Jake or whatever. And then he was staring me down through the net. He's like, really, rookie? Something like that. I hope I didn't wake the beast. And then he came back and beat me in the finals. So I did wake the beast.
Beat him early in the tournament.
I've been on the wrong
back.
side of Jake Gibb's fury my entire career so far, which is making me a lot better,
Yeah.
And he's a good competitor. He's nice about it somewhat, but I think that makes it worse.
Yeah.
It's hard. We'll have a nice conversation.
It's hard for me to sit down and say leaving Jake for Phil might have been the worst volleyball decision of my career.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Even though
for 2 years we were the best team in the world.
Phil were damn good. I feel like people, it's underappreciated too how good you and Phil were too.
I think a little bit is because we didn't win as many tournaments on the AVP as maybe we expected.
Yeah.
That is a crazy thing to hear. The worst decision was to leave Jake.
Leaving Jake for Phil, I think was the worst volleyball decision of my career. It's crazy. It's hard to say. It's hard to think, but it might be true. Yeah. I think it might be true. So I think Jake and I would have continued to play and get better, and that was right after we won the World Tour. Mm-hmm. It was that off season. Right. We had just won the World Tour. We go over. We won Santa Barbara, and right after we won Santa Barbara was when I called him and let him know. I had already talked to Phil maybe a month prior to that.
Right.
And we were actually on a plane going somewhere, and Phil and I were on the same flight. And it was just like, what do you want to do? You want to play next year? I was like, yeah. It was hard. It's like if your boss comes up to you and asks you, hey, Travis, do you want a raise?
Yeah, exactly right.
No.
I'm good where I'm at. It's kind of one of those things. Let alone from prize money, but also sponsor money kind of went way up too. So that was...
Yeah, that's true. Got Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull and Under Armour and a couple others, the Smart Car. Those years, kind of through, basically through Phil.
What would you tell your young self if you could go back?
I would
without
probably...
telling exactly what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I'd probably do it again. And then, Phil and I just had a few injuries. He had two. He had a
really bad timing.
Torn oblique, and then at the end of the year, that was at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year, my back went out.
Oh yeah.
And then his was at the end of the year.
It was
whatever it was, and then the beginning
qualification.
of 2015, the first tournament of 2015. So we go and play New Orleans. Did you play New Orleans?
No,
Were you guys playing that?
Because everyone was
You went straight to Moscow,
That was
right?
my very first qualifier I've ever played.
That
so
was?
I would know how bad the weather was.
Yeah, so we played there, and everything was delayed because weather-wise, I think we took one whole day off maybe from the tournament. Anyway, it was real late. Everything was running way behind. So we ended up playing Jake and Casey in the finals, and all four of us were on the same flight to Moscow for the first Olympic qualifying event, Grand Slam, big tournament. So we play in the finals, and we kind of as soon as that was over, we rushed out. We had a police escort to the airport, get on the plane, fly land in Moscow. Not the next day, but the day after we had to start playing. So the next day we had to get out, like practice a little bit, move around, get it going. And then I think it was our second match. Phil went up for a block. Ball gets, I think he touched it, and it was like just behind him, and he turned and laid out like that and tore his ab.
Yeah.
So it was like, one was his oblique, and then one was his ab. And
that was hard to watch. I was there watching that one.
You were watching that one?
Yeah, that match was hard.
And,
I was like standing there like, why are you guys still playing?
Yeah, I think probably keep playing. It's just probably like keep.
You were like double blocking. It was fun watching you because you were doing what you usually just flying everywhere and kicking balls and.
That was a good kick on that one.
Well, once you realize like, all right.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you guys almost won the match.
Yeah, well,
like,
we won.
With Phil just barely trying to move and Rosie just doing everything. You want to set, right?
We went 3.
You forced it to 3, and then like at the end it got away from you guys.
It was like 14-8 or something.
Yeah, so Phil passes the ball, and Rosie, instead of setting, he just punts it. But it went straight up and landed. It was like a good set, right?
I think.
It didn't land. It was like an amazing.
I don't know, but I was like, I figured if I like punt it after the whistle and the game's over, I'm going to get a red card and I'm probably going to get fined. But if I punt it during play, then I should be good.
And you kept it in the court. I remember you punted it straight up to where like, and this is off a pass. It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
To where it like landed back in the court.
So we were playing a German team, Stefan Windschief and Alex Wackenhorst.
Oh yeah.
And so when I think Stefan served Phil, and as I was going up, I was like, Alex, watch out. Because Alex is up there. I didn't want to like toe it straight into his face or something. That would have been, because then he probably just would have picked me up and body slammed.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Big boy.
But yeah, so that was a rough one. I mean, injuries were definitely a big
I mean, you mentioned
thing that
the
kind of hurt.
Lambo thing. The tough thing about it, like Lambo, obviously would have had a really good shot at competing for that spot with you guys against you guys.
For sure.
But like the tough thing about injuries and like the Olympics is people only remember who goes.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know the stories behind it and how much goes into it. And everyone that doesn't get to go has to live with that. And you can live your life trying to tell everybody, but there's no sense in that, right? You just have to kind of swallow it and be like, that's how like gnarly this whole Olympic thing is, because in our sport, it is a one-off. Like that's the label you want to get sponsors, to get to just have that for the rest of your life, right? It's on your resume, even for getting a job for anything. Like they want to hire you because you have that label.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was one of those like things. I think that was a reason when Phil got healthy again. We played one tournament and we got a 9th, but we hadn't practiced or anything. I was on the road traveling around with Stafford for a little bit because I was already out on the road in Russia.
Right. Oh, yeah,
he flew home after that,
right.
so I went to like Norway and
That's right.
Croatia and some of the others, and I gave my spot up in the World Champs because we're the number 1 seed for the World Champs. And I gave my spot up to Doherty and Mayer.
That's right.
And I was gonna play that with whoever. I could have played it with Doherty. I could have played it with Stafford. I could have played it with whoever. But Phil was just able to kind of get back, so I went back, and it was just really passing, and it wasn't like full practice like it. I probably should have stayed, so he can kind of go through that, and then as he's really ready, then we could get going. But we come back, we had one tournament, and of course Nick and Theo did well again. So they jumped. That was in
they got
Japan.
World Champs too.
They did. That's right. So World Champs, and then
You
Japan they got like
go,
5th and 9th.
To go just keep it mellow, rest, and
they go and get a 4th. So what happened was our gap became like so big. You know, it was daunting to kind of look at. Even though if we just like play, we're gonna be right there or like close to it. We still have basically a year to play all these events. And
the way you guys were playing on the World Tour.
Yeah.
and then knowing how Aiden and I did after, like, you just would have had to stay on par of your course to
But I think in Phil's mind, like, you know, because it was Jake and Casey, and then it was Nick and Theo, and then maybe the third team was maybe you guys at the time.
I think we were still. I guess we were right there with Nick and Theo.
Yeah.
I forget where.
But maybe overall points, but I think Olympic points, I think they had a gap. I think they had a little bit of a gap on you at the time.
Remember, yeah.
But it was still early. It was like maybe more. Maybe it was like 7, 8 tournaments in already. So when he looked at that, he's like, well, if I play with Nick, who's Phil's like best friend, then it takes this gap off, and now you only have to catch up to here. And Nick, you know, no argument whatsoever. He's a great player, and a lot of people can probably win with Phil when Phil's playing well. So it's like, you know, they're good friends. They came on the tour together. It could have been their last chance to maybe make an Olympic run. Still maybe. I don't know what their plans are.
They said now that they're going for it. As of now, I know that was like
a
question.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think they'll go to the events they like.
For sure.
And if they do well in that, then they'll kind of put a little more effort into it. And I think that's another thing that losing Florida kind of hurt them. And the 1440s that were going to be domestic tournaments, I think they're playing on those, plus playing on Florida.
There was another one in Florida.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of planning on those, and now those got kind of taken off. So, but again, I haven't talked to him. So, and you were just training with him for a week, so you have more insight than I do.
I mean, they just say they're going for it.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
And now you are not making a run. Me neither. So I'm not making a run either at Tokyo. So what are your plans, if you have any, figured out for this season? I mean, I know you're playing AVP, but I know...
that's one I would like to check off the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, playing full-time AVP. Hopefully playing domestic 1440s. Hopefully there's no situation and we can kind of get along and help the sport of volleyball out instead of bickering at each other and going in lawsuits and all this stuff, which is hurting our game, and everybody could just get along and figure it out and get a title sponsor and get some money going, because our little bit of prize money that's increased this year means a lot to the players, and that's probably like 1% of their like total budget. You know what I mean? Like, but that little 1% like means a lot to the players. Like everybody's like, oh, the money's up, and it hasn't even been officially announced. So I don't even. I hope it is. What I've heard, and you know, at least. Or more, because players should be playing the sport as a profession and not a hobby. And it's really what it is, aside from the top couple per gender. And it's a costly hobby for qualifier life.
The more money you want to make in a tournament, the further you have to travel and pay. Seems like it, right?
Oh.
Bentley wants to check out the new intruder.
And have you figured out your partner situation yet? Are you still,
no, around? I haven't quite yet. I mean, I've been practicing a bit with Avery Drost. Rain has messed up a couple of Troy Field and I's practices that we had scheduled. I don't know the situation 100% with Ricardo possibly being able to play domestically.
Right.
That'd be fun, team.
I mean, that would be kind of ideal.
Two legends.
And then, from there, I'm just kind of ears and playing and try to, I think for me, Avery would help me push a little bit to like, I know he's got the want and the work ethic, and so that would be good for me, knowing that Ricardo's, even when he's here, he lives in Florida, so I don't know how that would work, but
you got some time.
I'm not
May?
Yeah, until I think May,
Right, yeah.
early May.
That's got to be a nice feeling where you're just like...
That is, because if you've seen me practice the last few days or anything, I need that.
I'm sure it's been fun.
Well, I know we've kept you for a while. Don't want to keep you too long, so we do have one final question, unless you have anything else you want to bring up or chat about.
No, I wonder what this question is, though.
So if you had to give one piece of advice to an up-and-coming beach volleyball player, what would that piece of advice be?
That piece of advice would be to really focus in on your basics. You need to be able to pass the ball better than you do. You need to be able to move your feet well, set the ball better than you do. And all that will help your hitting, which you want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all these guys want to hit, and all this stuff because they see tries and everybody.
More like the U's.
Yeah, hit it. They try to hit it really hard all the time, and they make so many more errors because they are not focused maybe 100% on their passing because they're just thinking about what they're going to do on the hit. And then they come in and still swing at 100%. When the ball's in your wheelhouse and you feel good, go ahead and swing 100%. But other than that, watch try, take it off, go 70% more chop, move the ball around. But I think just at our level, to win games comes down to the basics. Like if we serve better and we pass better than you, we're probably going to win that match. I mean, there are variables in there for sure that can happen, but the team that passes better and serves better, which kind of come hand in hand. If you serve better, it's tougher to pass.
At what point in the match do you throw in the roundhouses and the bicycle kicks and all that stuff? I've been trying to figure that out. I'm always conservative.
I did that.
Scared to do all that.
I did the one roundhouse. I only did it 2 times in tournaments, like 2 times that were legit.
Did it on Sean Scott once, right?
That's because in that rally, and let alone that rally before that, like the guy was one of the best blockers there. He soft blocked me every time, and then Heiden's there to like put it up. It was like just over and over and over. And I think in that rally, I think he soft blocked me twice, and the ball came back over, and I was just like, I got to cover. So I think he kind of soft blocked Jake up along the net. So I ran over and got it over here. So like now I'm way on the left side. So instead of like backing up, I kind of backed that way. So now my approach is almost straight, almost along the net.
Oh my God.
And I just kind of was like trying to figure a way to get the ball past him. I just started turning a little bit more and did that.
That's a fun one.
And there's another good one in the finals in a Grand Slam in Shanghai against Phil.
Yeah, see, nobody's gonna bust that out in the finals except for you.
Well, Phil's another one of those guys. Like a lot of times is can't get the ball. You got to figure ways out to get balls past these guys.
I should have done that in Chicago when he just was like absolutely destroying me. Just do something funny. At least you entertain the fans, right?
And most likely he's not going to block that unless he's in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I like it.
But,
all right, Rosie. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Bentley's sending us out.
Yeah, Bentley's like, all right, show's over.
Thanks, Rosie. Appreciate it.
All right.